guys, welcome to the Rebellion Tantra Hour and another braless Sunday for me. CJ.
Howdy, guys.
And we are going to talk about several things, including some cool Taoist blowjob techniques, as I know you guys are chomping at the bit for that, and I'm a little too serious, so... I'm going to try. So we're doing that.
Also, as you can hear from next door, we do live with her adult son, and unfortunately, he's kind of a homebody. So you got to get in the snuggle when you can and try to move around it, and not throw it in the face too much, but also not overly inhibit yourself because of it.
Exactly.
It's time that Junior hit the road.
We're getting there. We're almost there with the live video. If you don't know, you can follow me live on Facebook. And we do a show, CJ and I do a show, The Rebellion there. And he's like...
Tell him when.
Usually at 6 to 7 o'clock every Sunday night. You know, I try to do it during the Kabbalistic Hour of Love, and I might talk to you about it.
Talking about the other one.
Oh, and the Rebellion is on Monday nights, usually about 4 p.m. Pacific. So that one's a little more serious. That one's more political, world events, like my psychic attunement to world events. Hello, some of us here to join us. Okay, so here we go. I thought just to keep it a little more, do a little seriousness beforehand and let my iPad charge. We might do a couple to Ganesh very quickly, because this is the heart and soul of Tantra is really prayer. We're just going to do a couple, then we'll get into some cool, dirty stuff. He's going to talk about cunnilingus, and I'm going to talk about some really cool Taoist blowjob stuff.
Never enough pussy eating in the world, guys. Never forget that.
And
that's not a joke. I'm not trying to be glib.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that the vast majority of all problems in the world really do come from two things, sexual inhibition and unrequited love.
Yeah.
And in both cases, it sort of becomes like you start to feel like it's incumbent upon you to have to solve all the world's problems equally. This is the nice thing about the whole Summer of Love and the Year of Love is that everyone understood that it's kind of like everyone's burden. You know what I mean? And it's like the old song was, look, if you can't be with the one you love, honey, love the one you're with. And they didn't just mean that in terms of getting out about that too, because the sexual freedom and the lack of guilt over it. That was the whole point. You shouldn't have to feel guilty. You shouldn't have to feel stymied or stifled. You should feel like a loving adult, which means you have the permission to choose lovingly. You don't have to suck and fuck everyone you meet, you know what I mean? Just because they're happy or bummed, right? But it does mean that you should allow yourself the freedom to be with a clean, loving, healthy, happy partner without all this horrible emotional and societal guilt and other inculcated crap weighing you down against it, when the end result is so much more happiness and joy. You know what I mean? And if you look at it, it's really true that a lot of angry, frustrated people in government, politics, whatever their arena, they really are sexually inhibited and frustrated. And, they'll swear their dying breath they're not. They know I'm a perfectly healthy, perfectly happy sex life. And maybe they do. But again, just because you can have sex doesn't mean you have love. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean you love yourself. Doesn't mean you love others. Doesn't mean you have that sense of, man, it's so beautiful to be alive and loving and really connecting. And that's what we talk about Tantra is connecting on a spiritual level as much as physical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you can very easily, literally, and I said this again and again, have the most remote sex possible, even physically. You know what I mean? Where people are literally in their own heads, physically with the partner, and if that's what you're both enjoying and agreed upon, nothing against that. But the whole point of this show and the whole point of Tantra is the exact opposite. Mm-hmm. This is two people who really want to be with each other.
Yeah.
Really focusing, really trying to attune spiritually to their own half of the god and or the goddess and or both, you know what I mean, through some really good, passionate fucking and sucking.
Yeah. And it's okay. There are situations, especially, in the East more, where a teacher, a guru will be having sex with a student to teach them, and that is legitimate only in but not usually in the West. If you find a white guy, or, honestly, nowadays don't ever do it, but in the past it was a legit
because
thing.
the Europeans, the Europeans in general tend to have a much more liberal attitude
Yeah,
to sex.
yeah.
It's only certain segments of different countries over there that have much more prudish attitudes. And again, even in a given country, you're going to have regional differences, cultural differences, familial differences, religious differences, and as anyone's ever had, Catholic school girl, Catholic school guy around you, you're going to find some who are just like, they wouldn't say shit if they had a mouthful, and that cherry's going to be intact till their dying breath. And then there's others that are just, doing the old dirty Snow White back behind the rectory.
Because
you know what I'm saying?
people tend to be pushed by extremes. Well, yeah. The piece, basically, it just depends on what kind of person you are. Our little cat came in. Our little shady cat. There he goes. There he goes, by. People tend to be like, if you're the rebellious type, you're in a Catholic school, you're going to start questioning, you're going to go the opposite direction. Like the absolute, a lot of Catholics are Satanists and like other kinds of ritualistic magicians, whereas Wiccans tend to be Protestants, funnily enough.
Forbidden fruits are sweetest.
Yeah,
okay?
exactly,
and
exactly.
B, out of all the things you can
do, which is why the drug war was stupid, by the way.
Yeah, drug war, hands down, winning, kicking ass, looking back, laughing, screaming,
and forbidden, and all these guys are doing coke secretly. It must be something,
Forbidden fruits are sweetest, and most attempts to dissuade people have the equivalent of trying to scare ants away from a picnic by pouring fucking sugar on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, it's not working. As you think about it, you can only deny people, food, or air, or water, or a lot of things for so long before they either die or go mad.
Yeah.
But you can stave off sexuality for a pretty good long time, especially if you inculcate us with the appropriate levels of guilt and recrimination and the sense of, when I've done this thing, I must hide. And if you really, truly, well, not just that, but if you truly look at American culture, almost all commercials are basically structured around sex and death. And that is, honestly, a universal theme. If you think about it, Eros and Thanatos are two of the most well-recognized, absolutely universally understood things for all humanity. You know what I mean? It is only through sex and life, and what the French call it more, little death, the orgasm, if you have an approximation of the peace that hopefully will surrender. You know what I'm saying? But it all kind of comes back to those two things as the two biggest motivating factors for most of survival. If you really think about it, aside from one's own innate needs. And you need to be aware of that and not let them manipulate you with it too much, that you're just unconscious, being kind of stumbling through the darkness constantly and being much more of a stringless puppet, so to speak, than your own autonomous being. Okay? And on that note, we're going to let her show you some techniques. Techniques.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about blowjobs and aging, actually, which is cool because, the white tigresses, which I think are probably one of the very few sets of female Taoists that it even survived. Almost all Taoist techniques are purely male and purely from a male perspective.
Well, let's call it that. From what we know now, and bearing in mind that a lot of things when different, and not just the communist Chinese, different emperors, different people, different cultures swept through China, they were like, oh, this gets to stay, and fuck no, that's got to go.
Yeah.
So what originally was going on as far as the Taoist sects themselves is still seem to be understood.
Well, either way,
but historically the connotation.
What's interesting, there are some stories. There are stories about kitsune foxes. And apparently, according to the Taoist white tigresses, those come from certain female Taoists who would go around and had powers and would give men random blowjobs for power. Apparently,
Japanese mythos, as opposed to the Chinese section.
Yeah, both actually is what they were saying, because it's it's more of Chinese thing.
They say the word kitsune is Japanese, but in the mythos itself,
there are fox spirits. I don't remember the Chinese name for them, but there are fox spirits in both cultures that are kind of similar.
Again, when you speak of women being foxy or just a fox, that actually has a very long historical cultural precedent.
Yeah. Okay. So the Taoist women, however, when you look into the yellow, I think, believe her name is the Yellow Empress.
If you want to.
I think her name was the Yellow Empress. I'm not 100% on the name right at the moment. She became immortal. Okay. No hate. She became immortal by basically bathing in the essence of 1,000 young men. That's right. It's exactly what you think it is. She freaking.
That's a sticky bathtub.
She would find very, very virile, healthy young men, and she would give them a blowjob, take a little bit of the energy that they were naturally blowing off, suck it down into her sacral chakra, and when she had 1,000 of those guys, she had enough to become immortal. And that's the secret of a blowjob. Now you have a reason to give a blowjob, okay? Now the technique, there's a sweet little technique. I'm going to tell you some cool physical techniques that make things just really feel good and are really, really hot. I wish a few more people were here for it. You're really, truly missing out, okay? Because I'm going to talk about some physical techniques. Because one of the biggest things with anytime you're getting energy from somebody, sexual energy from somebody, and take it from me, I'm kind of an expert. Like you want to heighten the eroticism at any cost. Okay, basically you want it to be the most erotic. And in the culture that they grew up in, that this technique came up in, they have certain things that they found extremely erotic. Okay, and so they celebrate some of these things and they incorporate them into this form of Taoism. Okay. Now, men in Taoism are told over and over and over again to retain the Jing, and that's very important. However, modern people in the West misinterpret it, and they make it seem like you're supposed to not have a sex drive or to desire sex, and that is the opposite of true. What you're supposed to do is have a very strong sex drive, to be very desirous, and to control it, and to not let yourself go have sex with a bunch of people. Because you're supposed to, what they do, what the very advanced Taoist men would do, is they would have sex with a lot of women, but they would never let themselves orgasm. They would never let themselves ejaculate, rather. And so they would by doing this, they were absorbing what they believed was yin, okay, which was feminine energy, by having sex with women. And women could do the same thing by having sex with men, giving blowjobs to men. You're absorbing yang energy. It's basically an elaborate sexual form of inner alchemy in which the women are expected to somewhat emulate men in certain aspects, and the men are expected to emulate women in certain aspects. And women are supposed to encourage orgasms. The more orgasms, the better. Just make sure that you clench your perineum, you give yourself a good kegel, and you push it up your spine. You just feel it go up your spine. Okay, you get a little feel for it once you get good at it. Okay, and you push it up your spine when you have an orgasm, so that you can circulate the energy. Otherwise, you're going to waste it. And in the Taoist white tigresses, they believe the best way for women to become immortal and to have that is through oral sex. They actually believe that vaginal sex ages you. I disagree. I think that what ages you is having a lot of children. Having children. When you have a child for the first 3 to 5 years, you are, especially if you're an energy person like I am, your kid's sucking the life out of you, and you're going to look older, and it's really hard for that not to happen. Okay, that's just a biological thing, and you can overcome it. Obviously, it's obviously possible to overcome it, but that first few years is very hard. So yeah, I think what ages you is having many children because you're feeding them all energy and stuff unconsciously with your love, Anyway, I'll go into some of the more physical things, but there's an energy thing you do during the blowjob. I'll talk about that at another time or maybe later. I'll go get the thing I wanted to read to you. All right. I just wanted to make sure I didn't lose, that this thing didn't go dead. Okay, because it's an old iPad. All right, now. What they do is they have 3 different positions. The tigress coils a dragon. She positions herself around the backside of the green dragon, the man, so that her right hand and mouth can stimulate his penis, and so that her vagina is accessible to him. Basically, she wraps herself around the back of him so that you can give him a blowjob, and he can kind of play with you from the one side. All right. Tigress sips water. That's her on either the right or left side of the man's body. He can be laying down or sitting up, and either way, she's basically positioned on her knees on his side, and then the crouching is just on your knees in front. And the white tigresses suggest submissiveness in an attitude at the beginning. Like they teach you to cultivate an attitude of hungering for penis, hungering for men's essence, and meeting these guys, picking out guys. You only meet them a few times because you don't want to drain them dry, I don't do this kind of stuff. What I do, I actually have a relationship with a higher dimensional being, and he feeds me energy on a very regular basis. So I suggest you do that. To be frank with you, I'm very shy about random blowjobs, but you know what? When you have a guy who's connected and he has a lot of energy, this works very well too. So I hate oral sex techniques. All right. The tigress grasps both hands firmly under the man's groin and penis shaft. Makes strong circles. They actually say 6 to the right and 3 to the left. I wouldn't pay so much attention to numbers. With the tongue around his penis head, creating as much saliva as possible. Basically, you want to swirl the penis head, actually. That's very, 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 very erotic for men. And obviously the frenulum is like, a man's frenulum is like his G-spot, basically, or like his clit, basically. Yeah. So, so here we go. There are all kinds of little techniques. They get very detailed, and that's just the way the culture is, They get super, super, super detailed about how to do things, how many numbers. I don't tend to go to that level, obviously. But, here we go. Basically, she would be crouching in front of him, take both hands, and you would just, strong circles around as you're swirling around the head, and then you make these ones are important. When you get to the sucking of the head, they will tell you 9. Stick to 9. The multiples of 9 are very important in this kind of thing. Basically, you suck hard on the penis head. It's very, very sensitive, and it's very, 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 very erotic. Okay?
Not everyone can make it till 9, so don't feel bad.
Yeah. This is something he builds up to too. But it's like you gently, you get to know it. This is why you need a partner, and this is why I prefer to have a partner than to have random people.
Just random timing, guys. This is not going to be a silent exercise. This is not like one of those things where you're both sitting there in quiet, contemplative meditation, because no matter how staid you are when you might be getting a Hummer, right? If she's doing it right, you're going to be making a lot of noise. Yeah. A lot. Like, oh man, I didn't know I was capable of such utterances and vocalizations. A lot. Yeah, and that, you know what I mean? And that's part of it. You're trying to go into it. So. Okay, so you literally, for this one, start out, you swirl it, you swirl the tip of the head, and you move with your hands like this in circles around. Then you suck hard for 9 times on the head. You literally should be going like that almost, okay? Hard, and it should be like, you should be like, like you'll be like incredible, okay? Then, at the same time, along with the smacking sound, which you should be making, okay, really, you visualize a burst of warm, white-colored chi emitting from the penis, imbuing your entire face. They perform the sucking action 9 times, then return to the circling of the tongue on the dragon head method. Repeat the entire method. You just keep doing that over and over. Swirl it, suck it, and visualize the chi. And then while it's hitting you, envision your youth returning, your face tightening and tautening, you know what I mean? And this is a really... And envision his life energy for you to do it. Yes, yes. Like him wanting you to be your most beautiful and youthful and vigorous and loving and just this back and forth energy. Yes, you know and this one... So that it's granted and wanted and understood energy. And this one is perfect for actually, and this is a technique, okay? You guys are so sad you're not here. You're missing out so hard because... Okay, if somebody came because I said that, okay, cool. Hey, you were about to hear it, okay? This particular technique that I just went over, and for you I'll go over it again, so hold on. It's actually more for if he's about to ejaculate on your face, which you would want him to do in this case because the sperm would then be carrying chi along with all kinds of hormones and amino acids and amazing stuff for you, and it would this is the heaven technique, and it would actually youthen you. As soon as he would ejaculate on your face, you would actually close your eyes and quietly meditate for a few minutes on how young you're getting, and so and then comes the valley technique. And then comes the valley technique. Okay, the tigress places both hands
along the sides of the penis shaft and thigh area. She then gently and slowly engulfs the penis deep within her throat, then draws her mouth and head back slowly with the lips held firmly around the penis shaft until reaching the rim of the penis head. At this point, she applies a stronger sucking pressure with her mouth on the dragon head for a couple of seconds, imagining that she's expanding the entire penis head. Then she draws her lips back until just at the tip of his penis and again applies a firm sucking action for a couple of seconds to draw his chi from the opening of the penis tip. To aid in this process, she visualizes a dark emerald light, like dark green jade, emitting from his penis and filling her entire mind. This is a very powerful one, by the way. Then she slides her right cheek down the penis shaft until reaching the groin and making several licking motions with the tongue along his left testicle, allowing her saliva to flow freely onto his groin area. She then returns to engulfing his penis deep within her throat and repeating the entire procedure. The male should place his left palm on her head. This method works best with the male seated in a chair and the female on her knees. Now, this one is very powerful for true enlightenment. I mean, the last one was about youthening your face, really just getting the chi into this face, the skin on your face. All right, that's the heaven technique. And if you missed it, you can go back later, and I went over it in detail. I have a few of these to do. This one, you're visualizing the chi going up into your third eye, up into your brain, basically. You want to picture it just flowing into there and being there. And at some point, when you get enough of it, you'll actually see lights in your mind. You'll see lights and hear. If he has a strong enough orgasm and you're able to absorb that, you will feel this energy flowing. It'll feel it in you, and you'll see a light, and it'll kind of knock you for a loop. It'll be like you had an orgasm too, kind of, you know? But you'll be like, and this light, yeah. So it's like I said, I have a cheat because I have a higher being who feeds me energy. So, you know, I definitely suggest you get together with some higher being who's willing to help you out, because I definitely think that that's the short way to do all this, okay? But, there's a lot of these. Those two alone, are so powerful. If you could do those, the first one to youth in your face, you can have it on your breasts, anywhere, to draw in the energy, and literally you're sitting there. There's nothing a man thinks is more sexy than a woman sitting there loving the feel of his semen on her breasts and face, okay? It sounds crazy, and it is, but, they're they feel like, I'm just such a god, and they feel great. It's like an incredible and powerful feeling,
when you've got especially a perfectly shaved face, and you're all nice and clean, and you just eat, and your face looks like a Krispy Kreme donut, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She just looks down, and you just, yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, they love it.
Hey,
it's
Rebecca.
Perfect. Hey. Hey, yay, I'm glad you guys are here. Let's try fire. All right. Fire. With firm pressure, the tigress holds the base of the penis shaft with her left hand, keeping her index finger on the top side of the shaft and her thumb underneath. The right hand is then used to stroke the shaft of the shaft and dragon head. With the penis head placed gently in her mouth, she breathes hot breath over it, while her right hand slowly and gently strokes the penis shaft. After releasing 9 hot breaths over the dragon head, she places her right cheek against the shaft, and with continued stroking movements, circles her tongue 3 times across her upper lip and makes a longing and desirous eye contact with the dragon. You see how detailed they go into with this kind of thing. They're trying to elicit a specific kind of reaction from him so that he can create a certain kind of energy or a more powerful energy. With the left hand still in place, she then gently pinches the tip of the penis with her right hand index finger thumb and slides her lips down each side of the penis shaft at least 3 times on each side, like on the sides, okay? She then places her right hand on his penis shaft and begins licking around the dragon head, circling 9 times counterclockwise and 3 times clockwise. She returns to the method of applying hot breath over the dragon head, repeats the same procedure over and over again. The male should firmly grasp both sides of her head. This one is just to think about building energy. That's really why it's called fire, because this is just like a long tease. I would do this before you did either heaven or the valley. And the valley is the one, like, you get in there, and when he's ready to come, you just, you picture an emerald chi coming up. You picture it as you do it. Like, you just keep sucking on the dragon head, imagining that the entire penis is somehow expanding, and then draw your lips back to the tip of the penis, firm sucking action, and then you visualize this emerald energy going up into you. And then when he does come, if you're not okay with him coming in your mouth, then I would suggest don't do that, but do your best to try to absorb what energy is released, and try to do it near your face or head, and just try to absorb it through your mouth if you can. Like, that's going to take some practice, with that kind of thing. It's just a lot easier if you're in a relationship and you know that you can actually just. I just swallow it. I'm sorry if I sound horrible. I'm just like willing to.
I think we can all agree that no apologies are needed, correct, guys?
Okay. So thunder. This is the most difficult of all the methods. It takes the most time
the thunder god.
and training to learn. But it is also the best method for deriving the most chi from the green dragon. Oh, yes. Placing the penis underneath the tongue. Oh, that's interesting. The tigress then quickly and completely engulfs the penis within her throat, drawing her tongue back while doing this. Oh, so they want you, they actually have a thing where they make you put your tongue backwards in your mouth to practice shit.
Yeah.
They think it helps stimulate they think it helps stimulate your third eye, and it's like, this is what they're doing. So you're basically giving a blowjob with your tongue going backward. It takes a lot of practice, so don't worry about that.
Red dragon returns to the void.
Yeah, red dragon returns to the void. Exactly. Which is, people, they actually will put a cucumber in their mouth and practice pushing their tongue back upward. Because, like I said, it's supposed to help with the third eye. I would not worry about that one at the moment.
Well, you got to tell me, this is the thing you need.
All right, with the penis fully in her throat, she then makes 3 gagging sensations so as to create strong vibrations upon the dragon head. So she's deliberately gagging to make him feel good about himself, but also to create vibration.
But honestly, it's to accustom herself to it and the throat, and to strengthen the woman's throat.
Yeah. She then slides her mouth loosely upward along the shaft of the penis in a very sensuous manner, while allowing all the saliva to flow freely from her mouth. With the penis free of her mouth, she then quickly turns her head left and right a few times so that the dragon head slaps across her left and right cheeks. Oh yeah, they just said that. She repeats the entire method of quickly engulfing the penis, making a gagging sensation, sliding her mouth up the penis shaft, and slapping herself with this penis as often as needed. And yeah, I guess the point, is it not obvious the point of this is to get him so excited that he's just like, oh my God, that way you get, like,
If you've seen Bert Kreischer do that joke about the No Mercy for My Throat video, that's exactly what it is.
That's what it is, right?
You're supposed to be coming up, gagging for air, wiping your eyes.
Yeah, these are Asian men, so this is to flatter the ego slightly as well. Come on now. Listen, it doesn't matter, but let's just be real, Certain people, men always need flattering. It's okay, Women need flattering in other ways, probably worse ways.
Well, that's why they encourage you to slap that dragon head on the face.
Slap your face with the dragon head. But you're going to get so much chi out of that, you know what I mean? And that's the truth, because he's going to be so excited.
Especially if you happen to have any of the kind of things where you do power play or control things, whatever. This is an excellent time to interject that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yes.
We have any kajiras out there? I love all my kajire. They're beautiful. We always love you. Yes, this is an excellent thing for your master for you. You know what I mean? This will work really well for you. It'll give you that extra bit of dynamic in your power play, everlasting, and it will really cement the bond and the energy between yourselves in that relationship. So I highly recommend that.
Yeah. Either way, like female dominant, male dominant, if you have someone who enjoys that, that person is going to just be like a chi generator, okay? They're just getting off so hard that if you're able to absorb energy, you can absorb it very, very easily because they're worshiping you, basically, for one thing, But it's a responsibility if you're going to be dominant. We switch, honestly, but because we're both weird, but a lot of people, it's, if you're a dominant, it's a responsibility to take care of that person. That's like somebody who's putting their life in your hands.
Yeah,
in a sense,
especially if you are a heterosexual, male-dominant, female-submissive couple.
Yeah.
Because out of all of them out there, you're going to get the most shit culturally. For everybody else, it's okay. But if you guys have ever been to any kind of fetish club, everybody kind of looks askance at those couples like, oh, well, we know we're all
they're just too normal, or old-fashioned, rather.
It's too many cultural stereotypes.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like it feeds on stuff.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's become much better over the years.
Yeah.
But early on, especially in the 80s and 90s and whatever, you got a lot of,
Yeah, because you don't want to, because it's a big, you have to be careful. It might be abuse, but it's, you have to be careful because this stuff happens. Look at Nixium. That's crazy. That all happened through BDSM stuff. Okay.
Back to the wind.
Wind. This is the wind technique. The tigress grasps the middle of the penis shaft with her right hand and places the dragon head in her mouth. She positions the left hand under his testicles and gently stimulates his groin with her fingers. The right hand then shakes and strokes the penis within her open mouth, and her tongue is flicked back and forth across the penis head. I would suggest the frenulum, just where the little triangle is on the front there. That's how it's literally like the man's clit. Okay. During this, she audibly exasperates soft sounds, like they want you to go, oh, like that. I wouldn't worry about it. Whatever comes naturally.
Don't force it, man. For some women, it's going to come natural. For others, they're going to try and go,
don't make it fake. If it's fake, it's going to come off fake. That's silly. That's why I don't take that stuff, because you can't, if it's going to be fake, Simon.
Nobody needs a honking aardvark.
Just do your best. Just do your best. Periodically during this method, she takes the penis from her mouth and gently rubs the dragon head over her entire face, starting from chin, moving to cheek to forehead, then traveling down the other cheek back to her chin. Doing this in both directions. Placing the dragon head back in her open mouth, she repeats the entire procedure as long as desired. The male should put his left palm on her head. Pai Hu is what that's called. This method works best with the male seated in her on her knees. Yeah. So this is another one probably about. This would be more of a precursor to the heaven one, where you're trying to introduce the chi into your face.
Again, you're going to want a nice, comfy chair, ideally a good, stable wood one with maybe a cushion on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then it doesn't rock back and forth much. It's kind of anchored.
The tigress gently encircles the big
water.
This is number 6, water. There's 8 techniques. The tigress gently encircles the base of the penis with the index fingers and thumbs of both hands. With very slow, gentle engulfing movements, she slides her mouth up and down the entire length of his penis, applying very little pressure. She creates as much saliva as possible and lets it flow freely from her mouth. Basically a basic blowjob as far as I know. Periodically during this method, she will place the penis under her chin and let the saliva drool onto the head of the penis. That one's a little different. She repeats the procedure as long as desired. That's just basic. Basically, you can mix up all these methods. You want to use the heaven and the valley as your enders, whether you're trying to absorb chi into the skin for anti-aging, or whether you're trying to achieve. Well, if you can achieve enlightenment through this, it doesn't matter through what way, but if you get that energy from the penis to go up into your third eye, using the valley technique, which I talked about earlier, and you get the lights in your head, you just need that to happen 9 times before you can create your own spiritual child, and that you can transfer your consciousness into upon death. And once you have that, you will be ageless in your physical body until you transfer that's my whole goal, because that's at a low level of immortality. There are higher levels where people actually just live forever and however long they want. They're very powerful Taoists. I'm just aiming for that level. That's the level. I'm trying to make it to the next level and stay ageless here. That's my goal. So I'm just letting you know what I'm trying to do, okay? All right. This one is called the mountain. The tigress grasps the shaft of the penis with both hands. Much like holding a baseball bat with one hand over the other, then engulfs the penis head in her mouth while making slow, elongated sucking actions. Okay? From the base rim of the head to the tip of the penis. After 9 such sucking actions, 9 is a very important number. Okay, first of all, 9 rules all the other numbers, but 9 is very important for these things, for this method. Periodically, she will, after 9 such sucking actions, she rubs the dragon head gently around the top and bottom of her lips before returning to the sucking actions. Periodically during this method, she will hold the top side of the penis in the palm of her left hand while pressing the underside of the shaft somewhat firmly with the thumb of her right hand. Okay? Positioning the tip of the penis close to her mouth. She slides her right thumb completely up the length of the penis. While doing this, a minimum of 3 times, she visualizes that she is drawing out and inhaling chi from his penis. So you're actually preparing him to. This is a close to when you think he's going to orgasm. I like when they tell me.
This is when you want to be aware of that.
Yeah.
Pretend you're blowing up a balloon. Literally, like you want a bicycle pump or, I don't know, a better pump, whatever, foot pump, pick what you want, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Each breath is coming in through you, and it's going out with your exhalations, and it's literally blowing her, lifting her, inflating her, giving her that energy and life, and specifically that kind of air. You know, again, all energy in these things is basically wisdom metal equivalent to, but you can still think of it in terms of earth, water, fire, and air, okay? And depending on which one you're doing, which one it correlates to, depends on which energy you kind of want to focus on.
Yeah.
And in this one, it's definitely air energy.
All right. The male should grasp both sides of her head, holding her hair firmly. You know, this is another seated one. All right. Earth. The tigress inserts the dragon's penis completely within her throat and extends her tongue out over her bottom lip. Like that. You know? Okay, the green dragon is instructed to hold her head down with both hands atop her head, pressing it firmly against his pubic bone, while he repeatedly makes gentle thrusting and grinding movements with his pelvis.
In short, this is the very hard one. They don't really want to, but yeah, you're all the way down.
Yeah.
And for a lot of women, it's not going to be possible.
Yeah.
Regardless of the man's length or girth. It's just, some people have that throat, some people don't.
Yeah, and listen, some of these, basically, these techniques...
And this isn't just the gag because you're down there at the thing, right? It's, you're literally all the way down at the base of him, his penis all the way down your throat, and then he's going back and forth rocking.
Yeah.
So unless you have one of those really, really superior gag reflexes, plus don't forget that naturally the human throat kind of goes like this.
Yeah.
I mean, the penis tends to literally curve up, right? So it's like literally an up-curving thing and a downward curving shaft.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hitting the back of your throat.
That stuff is going to take, first of all, practice. Yeah. But the thing is, there are certain techniques they don't go over in this book that I understand from other things I've read. There are certain techniques that are for certain people, like the hand techniques. Like they'll be like there are 5 different types of penises, and that you use this hand technique penis. So basically, you're gonna find the right fit for you and the person you're with. So not every technique is gonna work with every person, but they're all there for you to take advantage of. And there's gonna be some that are gonna be perfect for what you need, okay? And what you're looking for is the energy coming out. Men spew out energy thoughtlessly. They can't help it. It's like part of ejaculation. That's why they tell them not to do it.
That's the thing that reminded me that we were talking about a couple days ago I wanted to point out. This will make women understand this a lot better, okay? And most women, I think, truly get this. A lot don't. And I want to point this out to men as well as women in terms of how to feel. For men, ladies, the whole point of ejaculation is the buildup of an uncomfortable pressure that needs release. Okay, that's it. Physically, there's just, a little sack, it's filling up, right? There's and eventually it just needs to go. Much like urinating, it doesn't have to be crass, but in a lot of ways, that's kind of what it's akin to for us. And that kind of sucks. In some ways, it's better than whatever, all right? But that's what it is. It's just, always just like, pressure, release pressure, And that's why all that because the beauty of the female orgasm is not tied to reproductive cycle. It's not, tied to some like that little thing of exudate. Women's flow is beautiful and feminine and lovely, And yeah, it's designed for multiplicity and all that. But do understand that for guys, there is just that build with pressure, and at some point, it just seeking release. That's all it is. You know what I mean? It's after that, like on the second and third, so to speak, that's when they begin to have that loving and much more attentive thing to you, because before that, it's just like, you know.
And this is where it plays in for women. Like, women don't release energy. We absorb energy during orgasm. So we need to have orgasms, and we need to absorb men's orgasms. And because we are losing chi every month when you have your period, you're losing so much chi. Yeah. And no matter what you do, even if you're trying to be careful, you're using a tampon and you're meditating, you're clenching, and you're doing whatever, you're still losing chi as long as you're menstruating. Like, part of White Tiger's technique is at some point your menstrual cycle will shorten to about a day or 2 days at the most. And you do have some herbs that help with that, but eventually the techniques themselves, your period will just shorten, and it'll be like a super period. It's just so, like what happens to me, not to be gross, is like my whole stuff, it just all sloughs off at once, and it's over, basically. It's like really efficient. It's very efficient. And like, yeah, it's better. You're not losing as much chi, because the longer you're bleeding, the more chi. This is one of the reasons people perceive women to age faster. They don't have to, but and that on top of it, we're always giving. We're never allowed to just be angry. We always have to be loving. You're feeding people's energy. People are asking for that. Thank you. It's the truth.
This is what the horrible couples when they joke about, once I got married, she clammed up with that. Please don't do that to yourselves. Please don't ever keep that stupid. And I know it's hard after a while, because you do have these resentments and shit. It's hard not to play that game. But, my dad always said, don't go to bed angry no matter what. You're not going to make love. At least, give her a heartfelt kiss, tell her you love her, because you never know what tomorrow might bring, or even the night, God forbid. You know what I'm saying? And, yeah, I've seen far too many people do it to each other. Well, she's not going to die with me. I'm not going to sleep with her. And, you know what I mean? And it just destroys you from the inside out after a while. You know what I mean? Especially when you're married and you feel that sense of not commitment any longer, but kind of being shackled, so to speak. Yeah, it's really, really hard. It's really, really hard to have that sense of love and commitment, compassion, and just like, screw it. You know what I mean? I don't care if I get off as long as they're happy, So try to do that, A little bit of gentle tickling and nuzzling always helps,
A really weird secret that most people would not want to do, and for all kinds of reasons. This is something that I learned to do because I had a husband who I was very much in love with and who rarely had sex with me because he was actually gay. Okay, so I was lonely and horny for years and years. So I basically never say no to sex. I never, ever, ever say no.
And a lot of times people themselves will fool themselves through you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They'll tell themselves they're not. Look, it's never happened to me. You know what I mean? But it does happen to people of both sexes with a partner. Their partner is denying themselves or reassuring themselves or going through some shit. And maybe even honestly was at that stage like this. People are people. People are transitory. People move through segments and shifts and whatever. But certainly, if you're in a relationship where that kind of thing happens, it can make you question yourself.
Yeah, it's really, really hard. So don't think I've been through so much shit. I've been through so much stuff. It's like, I could tell you my story, you wouldn't even believe it probably. That's how, you want to know how you get woke? You get woke by suffering so much, you just can't take this false reality anymore, That's how bad it is.
Yeah, after you deal with enough bullshit. Yeah. The famous line, man, they expect you to eat shit. Problem is you eat shit long enough, you choke on it. You know? And the other unfortunate shit is that life is like a shit sandwich. Yeah. And therefore, the more bread you have, the less shit you have to eat. But then it makes it all about a bread line, in competition for the bread. Who's got more bread? Who's got less shit? You know what I mean?
But I learned from that, though, that, how important sex is for bonding in a relationship. And so I never, like I said, I never say no to somebody. I really don't, because I feel like, I know a lot of people do, and that becomes this source of contention and power. I don't want to do that because somebody did it to me really, really bad. Okay, he would play you know what I had to do? It was like I was a man. Okay, I had to freaking be nice to him all day. I had to listen to his bullshit all day. I had to play a rom-com for him and fucking hope he felt romantic enough to fuck me. Do you understand how fucking horrible that is? I know how men feel. I feel your pain, okay?
I had a girl
I'm like, all I want is to be fucked, that's it. And you make me go through all this, and then he still might say no.
And this chick told me I could dance naked in front of the sucker when he's on his shit, and he won't touch me. And I'm like...
And I blame that on the hormone issues that are happening, in the world.
Thank you, John. Hey, I appreciate you. We appreciate you guys too. You know,
Yeah.
we're giving you any kind of information, a
Yeah,
laugh,
serious.
a smile, a chuckle.
Hey, and you know what?
Bite the
Titillation takes away the pain for a few minutes, and that's fine too. You can listen to me talk about blow. I'm totally fine with that. You know,
Yeah,
it's a hard
world
world out there right now.
Okay,
you know?
Everyone's equal when jumbled in the grave, mass or otherwise, and don't forget that everyone's just turning dust. We're nothing but little motes of cosmic dust. So, as I say, love yourselves and each other because you're just standing in an hourglass and it's running out so much fucking faster than you think it is. You know what I mean? Don't take yourself seriously, but try not to take life too seriously because that's the joke of this game. No one does get out alive. You know what I mean? It's like I heard a fucking hilarious quote the other day when I was watching, Citizen Kane. Old age is the only disease no one looks forward to being cured of. You know what I mean? So, yeah, love. Love everybody. Love yourselves. Love everyone. Be good to each other.
Seriously,
and
if you
unfortunately, you can't love everyone or everything equally, even though if you want to. There's just some people out there that just are so self-hating and so contemptuous and so dismissive of themselves and others. It's not there's no hope for them, but you got to go somewhere else for a while and hope they can get it or hope someone else can do it for them and, you know, go somewhere jolly. And
we all have people, here's one thing that people don't realize, that one of the things that Jesus said was that he didn't come to bring peace, that he came to bring a sword, that people would turn against each other. And I think that some of us are realizing that, like, you might have people in your family that suck, even though, and it's not fair, and why should that be? And it just...
And that's the thing, you know, family is more than just the people you cohabitate with. Family ultimately is about those that love you and care for you. And so you definitely can have a surrogate family. I love my family with all my heart and soul. But they had, you know, like a lot of people throughout life and time periods, you know, having different ages, different cultures, how much things have changed in just from 5 years to 10 years. You know what I mean? My parents had a lot of issues with each other and ultimately ended up separating and divorcing like a lot of people do. But, you know, because of that pain and trauma, I found a lot of solace in, you know, surrogate families and groups of extended friends and people that know each other and did shit, you know. And so those ultimately that love you and care for you and are there for you are as much family as anything else. That's if you come from a huge family, you have no family, you were orphaned, you were adopted, you ran away, whatever it is, guys. Your family are the people that love you and care about you, and that is extended. And that's the nice thing about this network. When you're all family, we're all family. I mean, if I won the fucking $300 million lottery, and we're going to hey man, oh dude, $100 million, you know, fuck it, dude, I'd happily be sending out $1,000 checks. Like, it weren't shit to everybody. You know why? Because it's a nice thing to do. What the fuck am I going to do with it? You know what I mean? I don't know. There's this amazing billionaire, I forgot his name, and the guy just succeeded in giving away like $39 billion of his fortune. He obtained like $1 million for himself.
No, $2 million for him and his wife.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's it.
The guy gave away $39 billion.
Yeah.
And kept $1 million for himself, $1 million for his wife, living in a place in Frisco. Probably we lived there too long on $1 million.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know what? And again, he just said, I just don't want to be Ozymandias. You know, I don't want to be. Those aren't his words, they're mine. But you know the thing, the nicest thing to know is that you actually did something that you had in life. And for far too many of us, we're just kind of stuck in this miasma right now. But it doesn't mean we're always going to be there, or that even just ideas and thoughts and expressions can't help. You know what I mean? And yeah, just Tantra, love, knowing that love itself is a beautiful thing, having that in your mindset, keeping it every day, just wishing it for others as you stroll down the street. Man, I'm not trying to be glib about this shit. I mean, I look at people and I'm like, you know, because when you do have things for a while, even if you have, like, we're pretty broken, Brett, but I have such a great sex life and shit, I don't care about too much. And I look at people and I think that he might have this or that, but he looks like he's frustrated. And you know what? If he got a fucking righteous Hummer right now, it would make his day. He'd be able to be somewhat more expansive. He'd probably get a lot more shit done. You know what I mean? And who's it going to hurt?
And honestly, I'm really quick.
So I just love looking at people and wishing that kind of blessing on them. You know?
There are some people in this world, there are specifically certain men who are autistic, who have a really hard time just being social. Even with other autistic people, like other autistic women, autistic women are way more social than autistic men. And to be honest, they can come off as really, really rude, and they don't mean to. Women are
just very blatantly honest.
Yeah.
Still autistic men, but women are a little more empathic and empathetic.
Yeah, we soften our stuff up, and they'll just be like, no, you're just ugly, or whatever. They'll just be honest with you, and they won't care. It comes off bad.
Autistic women will be like, yeah, I'm not really digging your shtick or whatever, but autistic guy like, why won't you just fuck me? Because to them, it's more of a matter of logic than anything else.
They're purely logical beings in a weird way. But they need, I really think those guys, they need like sex robot brothels, okay? Because these guys need something. They are going insane, a few of those guys, and it's not right, because the thing is they have a mental difficulty. And a lot of them, if they get to be over 40, they'll actually get a lot better. They'll actually improve quite a bit. It's just that they're emotionally, they don't have the life experience to actually act like a mature person. But like, some of them are going some of the other incels, I don't understand them as much. I just think they're assholes. Okay, to be honest with you. The only ones I'm sympathetic to are the autistic ones, because they really try, and they don't understand what they're doing wrong. And women, they have a hard time understanding. Autistic women have a hard time understanding other people and other women. I understand other women, but I can't emulate the level of social subtleties that other women can do. But I'm so much better than like an autistic dude. So yeah, I just think there should be some sex robot brothels, to soften some of this stuff up. I really think in the past, when they had some of these things like sex temples, it really helped keep violence down. Okay, it really helped people to have somewhere to go. And the whole idea with the temple was you weren't having sex with some strange woman who was just being paid to have sex with you. You were having sex with a representative of a goddess, and she was giving you compassion. And there was a whole way of thinking behind it that made it beautiful and not horrible, Now it would be horrible, whatever. Like, I mean, the pole. The pole, literally just a pole, was the symbol of Asherah, who's basically Yahweh's wife is Asherah, okay?
And for everyone that grew up Decker and Maypole, yes, it is just a giant dick, and yes, those are just big old strands of cum winding off it.
And seriously, the pole itself was always beside Yahweh. There would be a thing for Yahweh, and then there'd be a pole, which represented Asherah, his wife, because he was seen as being an avatar for an even higher god, basically, okay? He was seen as being an avatar for Source, but he was a person, and his wife was a person. And now, where do you see a pole now? Where's the only place you see a pole? In a strip club. That's where you see poles, and that's where you see women, and that's where you see mothers stripping and using their bodies. And it's something that's been said before, but it's true. It's really true. This is how women have been sort of controlled for ages until it just becomes this thing.
There used to be these beautiful, and I mean, everyone's seen the Greek statues. We know how amazing and intricate, but you never got to see the cool ones, the ones of the gods and the goddesses, where they were like banging it, like Zeus taking back in the throne with a beaut, and that thing was a beaut, dude. That was no jealousy here, just fucking godly, dude. And yes, women would literally polish the knob. That's no joke. They would get up there and they would reverently, one after the other. I mean, they didn't have to have hygiene, unfortunately, but they would, slobber on it and ride it. Yeah, that thing was gleaming. And the same thing with the Statue of Venus. Men would massage her breasts and her face and her hair and her vulva and shit, and these things were just, I mean, it was miraculous, literally, no pun intended. And yeah, it's just.
But it keeps, in early times, the way it was ran, it kept violence to a minimum.
Yes.
Well, at least within the culture.
Yeah, because you can imagine a time when everyone's just running around either hacking each other with long pieces of metal or wood or wood metal and whatnot.
The reason for associating physical beauty with the goddess isn't to make other people feel bad either. It's just to represent femininity. But then over the years, it becomes this thing where people think this person is the goddess, and that person was an avatar. Maybe they were a higher dimensional being, but they're not the goddess themselves. They're just an avatar of the goddess. And it just becomes twisted, you know what I mean? And that's why it falls apart eventually. And it's sad, because that's why we need that. We need something. And robots that were built for it,
like the one thing
we could do that,
The one thing that humanity never really conquered super effectively was disease, especially like venereal. Subject.
Yeah.
Coconut oil, guys. It's a really great lubricant. It's a natural bacterial, preventative and fungicide and stuff like that. Smells great, tastes delicious. Took my way to heaping on too much. But especially if you're doing the aforementioned white tigress techniques, it's really good. I'd say do it in the shower so you don't get the sheets too goopy. If you do the laundry after.
Yeah.
But yeah, coconut oil is really good for it.
Coconut oil is literally good for everything. Okay? It's good for your skin, your teeth.
Your hair.
It's great. It's great for your teeth because it changes the whole pH of your mouth.
I've been out for a while and I'm bumming, man. It's good for your beard, skin.
It's great. I need some so bad. But it's.
Use it as a lubricant,
yeah.
and it'll definitely help. It'll also help change the pH if you're having problems like that.
Next week, I think maybe we could talk about all of us are incarnations of a specific aspect of God. I can tell you can tell which one you are by when you were born. The whole idea behind that is that when you know you are an aspect of something higher, you can really allow yourself to get further. You can really say, even if you're not a perfect person, even if you think you're the least perfect person, everyone starts somewhere. If you put some effort into it, you can become worthy enough to connect with that higher part of yourself that's already a God, and then you become more. And that's the whole point of everything, isn't it? And when you know that's possible for yourself, it doesn't have to be one lifetime. You just hold it in your head and you fucking little party works on it.
Before I try to do a show, we meet up. This Tuesday is the equinox, guys.
Yeah.
So happy autumnal equinox.
Oh yeah, happy equinox.
If you miss it, try and do something outside. If nothing else, just if you lucky enough to have a partner.
We should pray and make offerings because of all the things that are happening in the world right now. Like if we're having fire here and floods in China.
Yeah, we're in the area. If you got through that Bobcat fire, it's happily very far from us, but nonetheless, it's close.
It's getting close enough
a lot
that
of the
worries
areas,
me.
It's already, it was 10,000 and 20,000, and oh crap, now it's 40. Oh shit, now it's 50. Now it's almost 100,000 acres.
I'm not happy about it. It's really close now.
Swaths of forest that's just bone dry. So yeah, we're hoping and praying for rain. Guys. But, it's burning all over the West Coast. It's getting burning all over the East Coast.
Oh. It is.
Thank you. It says my compliments when you reach your presentation energy to call soul incarnation.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, man. We
appreciate
you.
He's such a nice guy.
You've always been very eloquent and very literate. I really appreciate that, man. All too often, it's never happened on here. I don't know why. We're really lucky. I've never had anyone who was like rude or obstreperous or even, just unfortunately banal. I mean, I'll take
most people are testing you, and the vampire guy just wanted to have his thing addressed,
Very intelligent. That means the world to me.
But some people, if a vampire guy started talking to him on here, would be all like, "Don't talk to me about your vampire shit." But so they're just testing you. They just want to know that they're accepted.
Technically, with the exception of like plants and maybe a few fungi and a couple of symbiotic things, we're all vampires. And we're all consuming something else to live off of. Like
all these
sunlight,
Taoist techniques are actually psychic vampirism in a sense. They just didn't really think of it that way unless you were really good at it and you were a woman, and then they were like, you're a fox demon, basically. That's what they say, that the really powerful ones got called fox demons, and that's where
I work in Hollywood, and I grew up in Washington, D.C., so, people that are honestly willing to admit that they have a preference and or a need to drain energy are absolutely all right with me, honest and preferential and preferable to the fucking soul-sucking little human leeches and worms that crawl through society in suits and ties going, not me, shining little facade of, fuck that shit.
Yeah, listen, it's all about honesty in what you do. Like, I like to go to amusement parks and just be around happiness, because really I'm mostly an empath.
But they usually tend not to be about waste, but basically we've got, societal we wasted that one, of things being just, sucked out and just, left to go to waste. And that's the problem that we're talking about, the immense amount of waste that's encouraged in our society and how that devalues everyone and makes it hard for people to connect to and love one another and share genuine honest harmonization. Did you say 60 seconds?
Yeah, it's 90 seconds,
Wow.
So we're getting close to the end, but, listen, there are people in the world who do use these kind of techniques for evil. They are going down. They are going down. They are going down. Nobody, people who are partly other dimensional beings are what they are, but some people are monsters, and they are evil, and fuck them. So I just want to, on the record, fuck that, okay?
In the meantime, guys, be good to one another, love yourselves and one another.
That's right. I love you. Thank you for being here.
Do as much loving as possible. Thank you for being with us and bearing with us. Again, I love you, and we hope wherever you are, you stay safe for another week, and hopefully no one in your family suffers. Heal and be well, and again, just let love reign throughout your lives. All right, guys and girls, have a great week and a great weekend. Thank you one more time.
Yeah,
be happy and healthy.